The CEO seems to have fallen in love. What? The girl is just a junior employee. At 7:30 a.m., the Metro Line 2 pulled into the Financial District station, and the crowd pushed Emma forward 2 steps. She clutched a folder tightly to her chest, containing the first draft of a design she'd stayed up 3 nights revising. The collar of her light blue blouse was wrinkled from the subway's air conditioning, and her mother's voice still echoed in her ears, "Emma, don't be late for your first day at Lumen Group. Listen more, talk less." Lumen Group's glass skyscraper stood tall in the heart of the CBD, its silver exterior glinting so brightly in the morning sun that it made one squint. Emma stood in the lobby, staring at the electronic screen displaying the 2025 Design Department new employee onboarding list. Her fingers gently pinched the edge of the folder. This was the offer she'd landed after sending 7 resumes post-graduation from art school, and Lumen was a top-tier company in the industry. "Emma, right? I'm Zoe, an intern in the design department. Manager Wilson asked me to pick you up." A girl with a high ponytail hurried over, patted her shoulder warmly, and said, "The department's on the 18th floor. I'll get you settled at your workstation right away." As Emma followed Zoe down the corridor, she couldn't help but look around. Neat workstations, oversized monitors, skyscrapers visible through the floor-to-ceiling windows, and the faint aroma of coffee in the air. She was so absorbed that she didn't notice Zoe had stopped until the intern pointed to the break room. "Wait here 2 minutes, I need to grab coffee for the manager. Don't wander off, especially stay away from the private elevator at the end. That's for the CEO only." Emma nodded. She just stood still when her phone vibrated. It was a video call from her mom. Subconsciously, she stepped back to find a quieter spot, not noticing the edge of the carpet. She stumbled backward, losing her balance. Ding! The elevator door behind her suddenly slid open. Emma's back collided with a firm chest, and her folder spilled open with a crash, scattering design drafts across the floor. To make matters worse, the hot coffee in her hand dripped down the front of the man's dark suit, leaving a brown stain on the expensive fabric. I am so sorry. It wasn't on purpose." Emma's face turned pale. She knelt down to pick up the drafts, her fingers trembling with nerves. She could feel the man's cold, piercing gaze from above, but she didn't dare look up. The air around them froze. Colleagues passing by stopped to stare, but no one dared step forward, only sympathetic glances were cast her way. Zoe came running over with the coffee, nearly dropping the cups in shock. "And Mr. CEO. CEO." Emma froze mid-reach for a draft. Slowly, she lifted her head. The man wore a well-tailored charcoal gray suit, a crisp black tie at his collar, and a watch on his wrist that glinted coldly. His features were sharp, with high cheekbones and thin lips pressed tightly together. His eyes were as sharp as a blade, and his furrowed brows betrayed impatience. This was Liam Lumen, the CEO of Lumen Group. The man who'd built a business empire at a young age, known for his ruthless efficiency. Tears instantly welled up in Emma's eyes. She wasn't afraid of being scolded, she was angry at herself for being so clumsy. On her first day, she'd messed up, stained the CEO's suit, and scattered her designs. She was sure she'd be fired on the spot. Biting her lower lip, she whispered, her voice trembling with tears, "Mr. Lumen, I'm truly sorry. How much is your suit? I'll pay for it." Liam's gaze fell on her teary eyes, then drifted to the scattered drafts, soft little rabbits drawn on the paper, with delicate lines and warm colors, exuding the same quiet resilience as the flustered girl in front of him. His tense jawline softened slightly. He knelt down to pick up the top draft, and his fingertips accidentally brushed Emma's, cold and still shaking. When Emma walked into the design department and sat down at her workstation, she heard whispers from the next desk. "That's her, the one who bumped into the CEO and spilled coffee on him. Mr. Lumen's a clean freak. Once I dropped his files, and he made me reprint everything 3 times, why didn't he fire her? Does she have connections? Don't jump to conclusions, maybe he felt bad for her, she looks so harmless." Emma covered her ears, but the words still seeped in. She stared down at her designs, feeling wronged and anxious. She'd already made a terrible first impression on the CEO. How would she get through the rest of her time at the company? On the top floor, in the CEO's office, Liam sank into his leather chair. A stack of documents, handed over by Assistant Carter, sat before him, unopened. Instead, he held the design draft he'd picked up earlier, a tiny rabbit clutching a strawberry, its round eyes brimming with vitality. "Pull up Emma's onboarding file," Liam said into the phone, his fingers brushing gently over the lines on the draft. Assistant Carter sent the file through at once. Emma, 22, a graduate of the School of Fine Arts with a major in illustration. She'd won 3 National Illustration Competition awards, interned on a renowned children's picture book, and came from an ordinary family. Her parents were regular office workers. Liam's gaze fell on the photo attached to the file. The girl wore a white dress, standing beneath a cherry blossom tree, her smile crinkling her eyes into crescent moons. It was a world apart from the tearful girl who'd apologized to him in the corridor. He thought back to the feel of her hand earlier, and how she'd offered to pay for the suit even as she cried, not like the other women who tried to get close to him, only pretending to be vulnerable. Liam set the draft on the corner of his desk and picked up the documents again, but his eyes kept drifting back to the illustration. He frowned slightly, tapping his finger on the desk. He was acting strange today. Down in the design department, Emma stared blankly at her computer screen. She had no idea that the unapproachable CEO was staring at her design draft, deep in thought. This unexpected encounter would change her life forever. Emma sat at her windowside workstation in the design department, her fingers hovering over the keyboard for ages. She couldn't bring herself to type a single word. Her design drafts were spread out on the desk. The little rabbit's outline was still cute, but it felt harsh to her eyes. Every time she thought about her awkward mishap yesterday and her colleagues' whispers, her heart raced with anxiety. Emma, bring over the children's toy design draft from yesterday. The manager needs to review it. Lily, the senior designer at the next workstation, leaned over, her tone impatient. She'd always looked down on new hires, and she'd been annoyed ever since she saw Emma get away with bumping into the CEO without being scolded. Emma hurried to gather the drafts, then made her way to Manager Wilson's office. She knocked, and at the sound of "come in," stepped inside. Manager Wilson was hunched over his computer, brows furrowed. He didn't so much as glance up as he said, "Set the drafts down. I'll look at them later." Emma set the folder on his desk and stood quietly to the side, not daring to make a peep. Manager Wilson flipped through a few pages, then suddenly slammed the drafts down on the desk, his voice spiking. "Emma, is this how you take your designs? The colors are washed out, the shape's totally unoriginal, and you didn't even factor in basic market needs. Did you throw out everything you learned in school?" "Manager, I checked the market reports. Parents these days prefer soft tones, and this shape," Emma rushed to explain, her voice a little flustered. Still talking back. Manager Wilson cut her off, pointing at the little rabbit. "Its ears are too long. Kids will yank them off while playing. You didn't even think about safety hazards. You're not taking this job seriously at all." The office door wasn't fully closed, so everyone outside could hear the shouting. Emma's face burned, and her eyes stung with tears. She'd pulled 2 all-nighters to revise this draft over and over. How could it be worthless? But she didn't dare argue. She just bit her lower lip and endured the scolding. Manager Wilson grew more and more agitated. He picked up the drafts, ready to throw them at Emma. "You have to revise this 3 times before you leave tonight. If it's not up to standard, forget about keeping this internship." "Manager Wilson, is this the right way to review designs?" Yelling. A deep voice came from the doorway. Emma and Manager Wilson both turned around. Liam stood in the doorway, wearing a black suit, his hands in his pockets. His gaze swept over the scattered drafts on the desk, then settled on Emma's teary eyes, his brows furrowed almost imperceptibly. When Manager Wilson saw Liam, his angry expression instantly turned to flattery. He jumped to his feet. "Mr. Lumen. What are you doing here?" "I was just helping the new hire grow by reviewing her draft." "Growth doesn't come from scolding." Liam walked into the office, picked up the design draft, and ran his fingertips gently over the little rabbit's outline. "This draft has well-controlled color saturation, which fits children's visual development needs. The shape could use some tweaks, but safety issues can be fixed by optimizing the material. It's not ignoring safety hazards." Emma was stunned. The CEO actually knew about design, and he was defending her. Sweat broke out on Manager Wilson's forehead. He nodded quickly. "Why yes, Mr. Lumen, you're absolutely right. I was too hasty earlier." Liam set the draft back on the desk and looked at Manager Wilson. Lumen Group hires designers for their professional opinions, not their loud voices. Emma's a new hire, she needs guidance, not criticism. He paused, then added, "No need for 3 revisions. Just optimize the material and revise it once. Bring it to me tomorrow. With that, he didn't look at Manager Wilson again. He turned to leave, but when he passed Emma, he stopped. In a voice only the two of them could hear, he said, "Focus on the design. Don't overthink it." Emma stared at his back, her heart racing uncontrollably. Liam's words were like a warm current, chasing away her grievances, but they also made her confused. Why was he helping her? Was it just because of yesterday's accident? Manager Wilson watched Liam leave. The flattery faded from his face, but he didn't dare lose his temper again. He said coldly, "Do what the CEO said. Have it ready by tomorrow morning." When Emma returned to her workstation, her heart was still pounding. Zoe leaned over, gossiping, "Emma, the CEO stood up for you. That's so cool." "I don't know why either." Emma shook her head, picked up the design draft, and started revising it carefully. With Liam's approval, she felt more confident, and her fingers moved more smoothly over the keyboard. Before she knew it, it was time to get off work. Colleagues left one after another, and soon Emma was the only one left in the design department. The sky outside grew dark, and the only sound was the tapping of her keyboard. She was so focused on revising the draft that she didn't even notice she was hungry. At 8 p.m., she finally finished. She stretched, ready to head home, when the office door opened. Assistant Carter walked in, holding a paper bag and a hot milk tea, Ms. "Emma, the CEO asked me to bring this. He said you must be tired from working overtime, have something to eat first." Emma stared at the milk tea and sandwich, stunned. "The CEO asked you to bring this?" "Yes," Assistant Carter nodded. "The milk tea is your preference, 30% sugar, less ice. The sandwich is tuna flavor. The CEO said he saw you grab a snack of the same flavor from the break room yesterday." A warm feeling spread through Emma's chest. She just grabbed that cookie casually yesterday, but Liam had noticed. She picked up the milk tea, its warmth seeped from her fingertips to her heart. When she opened the paper bag, there was a note inside, "Manage your time well. Don't wear yourself out." There was no signature, but Emma knew it was from Liam. She held the note, a strange flutter in her chest. The CEO was supposed to be cold and harsh, so why was he being so thoughtful? "Ms. Emma, hurry up and eat. I'll head back first." "Oh, and the CEO said you can come in half an hour late tomorrow, no need to clock in," Assistant Carter said with a smile. "Thank you, Assistant Carter," Emma replied. As she watched him leave, her confusion deepened. She sipped the milk tea and took a bite of the sandwich, but she didn't have much of an appetite. Her mind replayed the day's events over and over, the CEO saving her from the scolding, remembering her favorite flavors, letting her come in late. Was it really just because of yesterday's accident? Her phone rang. It was her mom. "Emma, off work yet? Tired today?" "Mom, I just finished revising the design draft. I'm still at the company. There was a little incident, but it's sorted out now," Emma said with a smile. "That's good. Don't work too hard, and remember to eat. Your dad bought fresh strawberries, you can have them as soon as you get home." After hanging up, Emma looked at the design draft and thought of the one Liam had picked up yesterday, the little rabbit holding a strawberry. Could it be that he'd taken a liking to that draft, and that's why he was being so kind to her? She shook her head, telling herself she was overthinking. The CEO was so busy, why would he pay attention to a lowly intern just because of a single draft? But no matter what, Liam's help and care had changed her impression of him. The ruthless CEO everyone talked about didn't seem that scary after all, he might even be a little gentle. Emma packed up her things and walked out of the company. The night wind was a little cold, so she pulled her coat tighter, but her heart felt warm. She looked up at the top floor CEO's office, the lights were still on. Was Liam still working overtime? In the top floor office, Liam stared at Emma's overtime check-in record on his computer, his fingers tapping lightly on the desk. Assistant Carter knocked and came in. "Mr. Lumen, Ms. Emma has left. She ate the milk tea and sandwich." "Good," Liam nodded, turning off the screen. "Tomorrow morning, bring her design draft directly to my office." "Understood, Mr. Lumen," Assistant Carter replied. As he left, he wondered, since when had the CEO started keeping track of an intern's movements? Liam stood up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, looking in the direction Emma had left. Under the streetlights, her figure was thin but determined. He thought of her holding back tears, and her focus as she revised the draft, and that strange feeling welled up in his chest again. He took out his phone, pulled up Emma's onboarding file, and stared at the photo of her smiling. His fingertips brushed the screen as he whispered to himself, "Emma, how many more sides of you am I yet to see?" At that moment, Emma was walking home, still thinking about Liam's special treatment. She had no idea this care was just the beginning, and that more surprises and heart flutters were waiting for her in the future. The next morning, Emma left home a little early, clutching the rabbit-patterned umbrella tightly in her hand. When she reached the community gate, she glanced at the roadside unconsciously, no sign of the familiar black car. A faint sense of loss welled up in her chest. "Emma, over here." Zoe waved from nearby. "There's a big news today. Olivia Lynn, the heiress of Lynn Group, is coming to the company. I heard she's Mr. Lumen's childhood sweetheart, and they're getting engaged soon." Engaged? Emma's heart dropped sharply, her fingers white from gripping the strap of her bag. At the company, the design department was abuzz with talk about Olivia. Emma sat at her workstation, too distracted to join in. The word "engaged" echoed in her mind like a curse. "Emma, go to the break room and get me a black coffee, no sugar, no milk." Lily's voice came, sharp with authority. Emma walked toward the break room. Just as she reached the door, she heard a sweet, coquettish voice inside, "Liam, look, this is your favorite limited edition dark chocolate." Through the glass door, she saw a woman in a red dress standing beside Liam, shoving a fancy gift box into his hand and leaning toward him intentionally. Liam frowned, stepping back to put distance between them. "Thank you, but I have work to do. My birthday's next week. We're having a party at the estate, you have to come." Olivia rambled on. Emma's eyes stung. She turned and hurried away, forgetting all about the coffee. Back at her workstation, she buried her face in her arms, her chest aching as if pricked by needles. So Zoe was right, Liam and Olivia really were close. Then what about his kindness yesterday? Was it just care for a subordinate? For the rest of the morning, Emma avoided Liam like the plague. She timed her trips to the restroom to miss him in the hallway. In meetings, she sat in the farthest corner, staring at her lap instead of looking his way. Liam noticed her avoidance quickly. He'd checked the break room that morning, thinking she hadn't come to work, until he saw her huddled in the corner of the meeting room, refusing to meet his gaze. He frowned, confused. Why the sudden cold shoulder? At lunch, Liam went to the design department, planning to ask Emma to join him in the cafeteria. But he saw her hurrying out with Zoe, speeding up when she spotted him, as if fleeing. "Emma!" Liam called out, his tone laced with confusion. "What's wrong with you today?" Emma froze, but didn't turn around. "Nothing, Mr. Lumen. Zoe and I have plans, we'll head to lunch first." She grabbed Zoe's arm and rushed off. Liam watched her retreating back, his frown deepening. He turned to Assistant Carter. "Do you know why Emma's acting like this?" Assistant Carter hesitated, then said, "Mr. Lumen, this morning, when Ms. Lynn arrived, a lot of employees were gossiping about your relationship with her. They said you two are getting engaged." Emma probably heard it. Liam's expression darkened instantly. He hadn't expected Olivia's visit to spark such rumors, let alone that Emma would pull away because of them. He pulled out his phone, wanting to text her an explanation, but his fingers hovered over the screen, unsure what to say. In the afternoon collaboration meeting, Olivia suddenly spoke up, "I think the design should be more trendy. What do you think, Ms. Emma?" Her tone carried a subtle challenge. Emma stood up. "This project targets children. We need to balance safety and fun, overly trendy styles won't fit." "What do you know?" Olivia cut her off, "Your designs are too childish. They don't match Lynn Group's brand. Liam, don't you agree?" She looked at Liam, expecting his support. Liam turned to Emma. Emma's design fits the project's positioning. Children's needs come first. After the meeting, Olivia cornered Emma. I'd advise you to stay away from Liam. He's my fiancé. Emma froze, then walked away silently. Back at her workstation, she couldn't hold back anymore, quiet sobs shook her shoulders. Just then, the office intercom crackled to life, broadcasting Liam's voice, "Attention all employees. I'd like to clarify, my relationship with Ms. Olivia Lynn of Lynn Group is purely professional. There is no engagement, nor have we been childhood sweethearts. Please stop spreading false rumors that disrupt workplace order." Emma froze, looking up at the ceiling. Why was Liam clarifying this? For her. Olivia's face turned pale, her hands tightening around her bag, her eyes filled with resentment. When it was time to leave work, the rain poured down. Emma stood outside the building, waiting for a ride, but no Uber or Lyft accepted her request. Just as she felt desperate, a black car pulled up. Liam frowned. Why aren't you waiting inside? Do you want to get sick? Emma got in. Liam handed her a towel, dry off. When they reached her community gate, Liam picked up an umbrella. Take this. Return it tomorrow. Emma took the umbrella, its handle still held his warmth. She ran into the community, then turned back at the staircase entrance. The black car was still there, its headlights on. Inside the car, Liam watched until Emma's room light turned on, then texted Assistant Carter, "Find out what flowers Emma likes." He knew his feelings for her had gone beyond appreciation. The next morning, Emma stepped out early, her fingers white from clutching the rabbit-patterned umbrella. At the community gate, she spotted Assistant Carter standing by the black car. She took a steadying breath and held out the umbrella. "Assistant Carter, could you please give this back to Mr. Lumen?" "Ms. Emma, Mr. Lumen is waiting for you in the car," Assistant Carter said, not reaching for the umbrella. Instead, he stepped forward and pulled open the rear door. Emma froze. Through the narrow gap, she saw Liam inside, dressed in a light gray suit, hunched over as he reviewed documents. After a moment of hesitation, she slid into the car, the familiar cedar scent wrapped around her at once, and her heart started to thud. "Keep the umbrella. It's been raining a lot these days," Liam said, setting down the documents and turning to her. His gaze lingered on her pale face. "How are you, holding up after yesterday?" Emma avoided his eyes, murmuring, "I'm fine. Thank you for asking, Mr. Lumen." She still couldn't face him calmly. Olivia's words kept echoing in her mind, a heavy weight on her chest. Liam sighed inwardly at her evasive look, but didn't press further. He pulled out a file and handed it to her. "The company is launching a new children's early education product line. We need to add illustration elements, and I want you to lead the design. You'll report directly to me." Emma's eyes widened in surprise. "Me? But I'm just an assistant, I don't have enough experience." "I trust your ability." Liam cut her off firmly. "Your illustration style fits children's products, and you have a good grasp of market needs. I'm confident in handing this to you." His trust warmed her heart, but also made her nervous. She looked at the file. "I'll do my best. Thank you, Mr. Lumen." The car arrived at the company soon after. Liam got out first, then walked around to open the door for her. "We'll discuss the project plan this afternoon. Organize your thoughts first, come to me anytime if you have questions." Emma nodded, hurrying into the building. As soon as she reached the design department, she heard whispers about yesterday's intercom announcement. When she walked in, the chatter died instantly, and all eyes turned to her, curious, probing. "Emma, are you and Mr. Lumen?" Zoe leaned over, gossiping. "Don't be silly. I'm just leading the new project and reporting directly to him." Emma hurried to explain, her cheeks flushing. For the rest of the morning, Emma focused on studying the project materials, trying to throw herself into work and push aside her tangled emotions. But Liam's face kept popping into her mind, along with his concern in the car that morning. At lunch, Emma was about to head to the cafeteria with Zoe when Liam's internal line rang at her workstation. "Emma, come to my office. We'll go over the project plan early." "Got it, Mr. Lumen." Emma hung up, turning to Zoe. "You go ahead, I need to go to the CEO's office." She took the elevator to the top floor, knocking on the office door. At the sound of "come in," she pushed it open. Liam sat behind his desk, 2 takeout boxes in front of him. When he saw her, he nodded at the chair across from him. "Eat first. We can talk while we eat." Emma's eyes lit on the food, sweet and sour pork ribs, tomato beef brisket, both her favorites. "Mr. Lumen, how'd you know I like these?" "I didn't," Liam said, handing her the ribs box. "Told Assistant Carter to pick 2 random ones. Try it, it's good." Emma took it, murmuring, "Thanks." She ate slowly, avoiding his eyes, but still felt his gaze now and then. "What ideas do you have for the project?" Liam set down his chopsticks, focusing fully on her. Emma put down her spoon, pulling out her notebook. "I thought we could center the illustrations on nature exploration, like a little rabbit learning about forest plants and animals. It'd draw kids in and teach them something too." She explained her thoughts earnestly. Liam listened intently, asking questions occasionally. Their discussion flowed smoothly, and within an hour, they'd finalized the project's basic framework. Clear direction. "We'll move forward with this." Liam nodded in approval. His eyes caught a grain of rice at the corner of her mouth. Without thinking, he reached out and brushed it away with his thumb. Emma froze, her cheeks burning. She could feel the warmth of his fingertip, her heart pounding so hard it felt like it would jump out of her chest. She bowed her head. "Look at him." Liam realized his gesture was too forward, pulling his hand back and clearing his throat. "It's getting late. Go back to work, come to me if you have questions." "Okay." Emma stood up, hurrying out of the office. Her heart didn't calm down until she was back at her workstation. She touched her burning cheek, her mind in a mess. What had Liam meant by that? In the days that followed, Emma and Liam worked closely on the project, often staying late together. Every evening, when the design department emptied out, Emma would still be at her desk drawing, while Liam worked in his office, occasionally coming down to check on her progress. Once, Emma's stomach growled halfway through drawing. She patted her pocket, realizing she'd forgotten to bring snacks. Just then, Liam walked over, holding a bag of strawberry cookies. "Hungry? Eat these to hold you over." Emma looked up in surprise. "Mr. Lumen, how did you know I like strawberry cookies?" "I saw you pick them up in the break room once." Liam handed her the bag. "Don't overwork yourself. Rest when you need to." Emma took the cookies, warmth spreading through her. She opened the bag, taking out a piece and offering it to him. "Mr. Lumen, have one too." Liam hesitated, then took it, popping it into his mouth. The sweet strawberry flavor spread on his tongue. He watched Emma eat, a small smile tugging at his lips. Another time, when Emma helped Liam organize project documents, she noticed his files were disorganized. She took the initiative to sort them, labeling each folder neatly. When Liam saw it, he looked surprised. "You organize files better than Assistant Carter." "I'm used to it, I help my mom organize things at home," Emma said, her cheeks flushing. After that, Liam had Emma organize all his files. She quietly memorized his habits too. He hated cilantro, drank black coffee with no sugar or milk, and used a red pen to mark documents. One night, Emma stayed up late finishing a design draft. She leaned on her desk, falling asleep without realizing it. Liam finished his work and went down to check on her. Seeing her asleep, he frowned softly. He walked over, taking off his suit jacket and gently draping it over her, careful not to wake her. Emma slept soundly, unaware. Liam pulled up a chair across from her, watching her peaceful face. Her long eyelashes cast shadows in the lamplight, her lips slightly curved as if in a good dream. Softness filled Liam's chest as he looked at her flushed cheek. He wanted to reach out and touch it, but his hand froze mid-air before he pulled it back. He knew his feelings for Emma were growing deeper, but he didn't dare confess, afraid of scaring her, afraid of ruining their current dynamic. So he'd keep approaching her through work, caring for her, protecting her in his own way. About half an hour later, Emma stirred awake. Seeing the suit jacket on her shoulders and Liam sitting across from her, her cheeks turned red instantly. She sat up, handing the jacket back. "Thank you, Mr. Lumen. I didn't mean to fall asleep." "It's fine. It's late, I'll drive you home." Liam took the jacket, standing up. "Finish the draft tomorrow. Don't wear yourself out." Emma nodded, packing her things and following him out of the company. The car drove through the quiet night streets, the interior peaceful. Emma looked out the window at the night view, a sweet flutter in her heart. She stole a glance at Liam. He was focused on driving, his profile soft in the streetlights. Maybe Olivia's words weren't true, she thought. Maybe Liam really did have feelings for her. When the car reached her community gate, Emma unbuckled her seatbelt, ready to get out. "Thank you for driving me back, Mr. Lumen. See you tomorrow." "Emma." Liam called her name, picking up a small gift box from the back seat and handing it to her. "This is for you, an early reward for the project." Emma took the box, opening it in surprise. Inside was a limited edition illustration pen, the exact one she'd seen online and wanted to buy, but never could. "Mr. Lumen, how did you know I wanted this? I heard you talking about it with Zoe once." Liam smiled. "Go on up. Get some rest." Emma nodded, grabbed the box, and hurried into the community. At the stairwell entrance, she glanced back. The black car still sat there, lights on, and her heart warmed like honey. Back home, she clutched the pen, a smile lingering on her face. She knew her feelings for Liam had grown past gratitude, but was his kindness just for work, or something more? In the car, Liam waited until Emma's room light came on before driving off. He pulled out his phone and texted Assistant Carter, "Find couple-friendly art exhibitions for next week." He knew it was time to take the initiative. He didn't want to only approach her through work anymore, he wanted her to know how he felt. But he wondered how she'd react, and what this careful step forward would mean for their relationship. As the night grew darker, Liam's heart was filled with anticipation and nervousness. On Monday morning, Emma walked into the company, the illustration pen clutched in her hand. By the bulletin board, Zoe waved her over. "Emma. You're the lead designer for the children's early education project." Emma froze. Looking at the list, her name was clearly printed at the top, while Lily was listed as supporting designer. Mr. Lumen must have pushed for this. Zoe whispered, "Look at Lily's face, it's practically black." In the days that followed, Emma threw herself into the design. Liam often came down to help her analyze details, but Lily kept finding ways to bother her, complaining that her designs didn't meet requirements or delaying the delivery of materials. On Friday afternoon, the project team presented their progress to Liam. Emma had placed the final design draft in the conference room earlier, but when she walked in, she found the data had been tampered with, the colors a messy jumble. "Emma, is this the result of your overtime work?" Liam frowned. "Mr. Lumen, it was fine when I checked yesterday." Emma's eyes welled up with panic. "Still trying to lie?" Lily stepped forward. "I saw you leave the draft on your desk and walk away. You must have messed it up yourself." Liam turned to Lily, then to Assistant Carter. "Pull up the surveillance footage." Lily's face paled, but she still tried to argue. "There's no need to make a big deal out of this. We'll see if it's a big deal after watching the footage." Liam's voice was cold. The surveillance showed Lily sneaking into the conference room the night before to alter the draft. Lily dropped to her knees. "Mr. Lumen, I'm sorry. I was jealous of Emma, please give me another chance." "Chances aren't earned by sabotage." Liam stood up. "Lily is fired, and will never be rehired. Emma is the sole lead designer. Anyone who causes trouble again will face the same consequences." He turned to Emma, his tone softening. "I'm sorry you had to go through this." Emma felt a surge of gratitude. "Thank you for trusting me, Mr. Lumen." After work, Liam waited for her at the end of the corridor, holding a paper bag. "Inside is your favorite strawberry cake, my way of making up for what happened." "Thank you. I don't know what I would have done without you," Emma said. "Come to me directly if something happens. Don't handle it alone." Liam looked at her, his eyes gentle. At her community gate, Liam asked, "Are you free next Saturday night? I'd like to take you to an art exhibition." Emma's eyes lit up, and she nodded quickly, "I'm free. Thank you, Mr. Lumen." The flutter in her chest returned. This wasn't a work meeting, but a real invitation, and her fingers unconsciously twisted the hem of her shirt. Liam smiled faintly, the corners of his lips softening. "I'll pick you up at 6 p.m. Wear something comfortable." Back home, Emma opened the paper bag to find a slice of strawberry shortcake, layers of light cream dotted with fresh strawberries, just like the one she'd mentioned loving once in passing. Under the cake box was a small note, Liam's neat handwriting on it, "Don't let today's mess ruin your mood. Tomorrow's a new day." She bit into the cake, the sweet flavor melting on her tongue, and her heart felt just as warm. She'd spent the whole day anxious about the messed up draft, but Liam's trust in this little cake had chased away all the frustration. That night, she laid out 3 outfits on her bed, hesitating between a floral dress and a light blue jumpsuit. She wanted to look nice, but not too deliberate. The following week flew by in a blur of project tweaks and quiet anticipation. By Thursday afternoon, the final design plan for the children's early education product had passed the group's review, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Liam announced on the spot that a celebration dinner would be held on Friday night to reward the project team. The dinner was booked at a high-end restaurant in downtown, at 6 p.m. On Friday, Emma stood nervously at the restaurant entrance, wearing the light blue jumpsuit she'd finally settled on. It was her first company celebration dinner, and she felt a mix of excitement and unease. "Emma, over here." Zoe ran out of the restaurant to pull her inside. "You look amazing today. Mr. Lumen was asking about you just now." Emma's cheeks flushed as she followed Zoe into the private room. Most of the team was already there, and Liam sat at the head of the table in a dark blue suit. When he saw Emma walk in, his eyes brightened instantly, and he waved her over. "Emma, come sit here." All eyes in the room turned to Emma, teasing and admiring. Her heart raced as she hurried to the empty seat next to Liam, whispering, "Mr. Lumen, is it okay for me to sit here?" "Of course it is." Liam handed her a glass of orange juice. "You're the lead designer of the project, you belong here. Don't drink alcohol, have this instead." Emma took the glass, warmth spreading through her. Their fingers brushed accidentally, and both froze for a second. Emma quickly pulled her hand back, bowing her head to sip the juice, too flustered to meet his gaze. The dinner kicked off with Liam summarizing the project's success. He specifically highlighted Emma's contributions, then announced on the spot that she'd be promoted from design assistant to full designer with a salary increase. Colleagues burst into applause, and Emma stood up, embarrassed but grateful. "Thank you, Mr. Lumen, and thank everyone for your help. I couldn't have done this without the team." After that, people raised their glasses to toast each other, and the atmosphere grew lively. A few male colleagues walked over to Emma with wine glasses. "Ms. Emma, we couldn't have finished this project without you, let's have a drink." Emma quickly waved her hands. "I'm sorry, I don't really drink. Just a small sip." "Don't be so unkind." One of the men insisted, holding the glass out to her. Emma was stuck. until Liam stood up suddenly, taking the wine glass from the man's hand and downing it in one go. She has to sort out the project's follow-up materials tomorrow. I'll drink in her place. He turned to the others, his tone firm. Emma doesn't drink. If any of you want to toast, toast with me instead. The men looked at each other, no longer daring to push. They laughed and said, Mr. Lumen's protecting Ms. Emma, we wouldn't dare push further. Emma watched Liam's back, her heart fluttering with sweetness. He always showed up just when she needed him, shielding her from trouble. Halfway through the dinner, Liam walked over to Emma and whispered, "It's too noisy here. Let me take you somewhere." Emma hesitated for a moment, then followed him out of the private room. They got in the car, and she asked, confused, "Mr. Lumen, where are we going?" "You'll see when we get there." Liam smiled, starting the car and heading toward the riverside. The car pulled up at a riverside overlook. Liam opened the door. "Get out and take a look, the night view here is beautiful." Emma stepped out, and the cool river breeze brushed her face. Looking up, she saw the night sky dotted with stars, their reflections shimmering on the water like scattered diamonds. She gasped, "It's so beautiful." Liam walked over to stand beside her, watching her bright eyes, and a soft feeling filled his chest. He fell silent for a moment, then took a deep breath and spoke seriously, "Emma, from the first time I met you in the corridor, when you apologized nervously, your eyes red but refusing to cry, I noticed you." Emma's heart skipped a beat. She turned to look at Liam, her eyes wide with surprise. "Later, I saw you stand your ground when Manager Wilson criticized you, saw you fall asleep at your desk after working late, saw you refuse to give up even when Lily framed you. The more I saw, the more I cared about you." Liam's voice was soft but clear. "I love watching you focus on designing, love seeing you smile when you eat strawberry cake, love hearing you talk about illustrations with that spark in your eyes." Tears welled up in Emma's eyes, a mix of sweetness and warmth in her chest. She'd always thought Liam's kindness was just that of a boss to a subordinate, she never imagined he'd liked her all this time. "Emma," Liam turned to face her, gently taking her shoulders in his hands, his gaze intense, "I don't want to just be your CEO anymore. I want to be your boyfriend, to protect you, to make sure you never feel wronged again, to never let you carry troubles alone. Will you let me?" The river breeze ruffled Emma's hair. She looked into Liam's earnest eyes, filled with tenderness and hope. She thought of all the times he'd cared for her over the months, the way he defended her, remembered her favorite things, stayed late with her to work, and all the affection and gratitude in her heart merged into a single answer. She nodded hard, her voice trembling with tears, "I will." Liam's eyes lit up instantly. He pulled her gently into his arms, holding her carefully as if she were fragile. Emma leaned against his chest, listening to his steady, strong heartbeat and breathing in his familiar cedar scent. She felt safer than ever. "That's the best news I've ever heard, Emma." Liam whispered in her ear, his voice full of joy, "From now on, I'll always be here for you." Emma closed her eyes, hugging him tightly, tears rolling down her cheeks, but they were tears of happiness. They stood there for a long time, until the breeze grew cooler. Liam took off his suit jacket and draped it over Emma's shoulders. "Let's go back, don't catch a cold." On the drive back to Emma's place, the car was quiet but sweet. Emma looked at Liam's profile as he focused on driving, and whispered, "Liam, should we keep this a secret at work? I'm worried colleagues will gossip." Liam glanced at her, smiling, "What's there to be afraid of? You're my girlfriend, why should we hide it?" He paused, then softened his tone, "But if you're not ready, we can keep it quiet for now. We'll tell everyone when you're comfortable." His thoughtfulness made Emma's heart warm. She nodded, "Let's wait until the project is fully wrapped up. Then we can tell everyone." When the car reached her community gate, Emma unbuckled her seatbelt but didn't get out right away. She looked at Liam, then mustered up the courage to lean over and press a quick kiss to his cheek before pushed the car door open. And running into the community, "Good night, Liam." Liam touched his cheek, a wide smile spreading across his face. He watched until her figure disappeared into the stairwell, then drove away. Back home, Emma leaned against the door, her heart still racing. She touched her warm cheek, replaying the confession and the hug in her mind, and couldn't help but smile. She walked to the window, looking up at the stars, her heart full of happiness. What she didn't know was that at that moment, Liam's mother, Mrs. Lumen, was sitting in the living room of their mansion, holding a photo of Emma, her expression cold. That afternoon, she'd found out about Liam and Emma from Assistant Carter, and had looked into Emma's family background. Average working-class family, her parents are just ordinary office workers. How could a girl like that be good enough for Liam? Mrs. Lumen threw the photo onto the table, her voice sharp. It looks like I need to meet this Emma soon. I'll make her understand who's worthy of standing next to my son. Emma was still immersed in the sweetness of confirming their relationship, completely unaware that a test of social status was already waiting for her. She looked at the text Liam had sent, "Sleep well, see you tomorrow," and smiled as she replied, "Good night." She was full of hope for the future, never guessing that their sweet relationship would soon face its first serious challenge. Saturday 7 a.m., Emma's phone rang. Liam glowed on the screen. She rubbed her sleepy eyes to pick up, and his warm voice came through, "Awake? I'm at your community gate. Let's get breakfast." Emma jolted up, hurrying to dress and tidy up. 10 minutes later, she ran downstairs in a white t-shirt and jeans, hair in a low ponytail. By the black car, Liam wore a casual light gray hoodie, holding a cup of hot soy milk. Spotting her, he smiled and handed it over. "Just bought it, still warm. Drink to cozy up." Emma took it, their fingers brushed briefly, and her cheeks pinked. They walked side by side to a nearby diner, the sun warm on their shoulders. Emma stole glances at Liam. His profile was soft in the sunlight, a world away from his sharp, serious look at the office. The diner was a local favorite. Liam ordered Emma's usual, fried dough sticks and savory tofu pudding, and a bowl of clear noodle soup for himself. Emma watched in surprise as he neatly picked the cilantro out of her tofu pudding. "How did you know I don't like cilantro? I saw you pick it out when we had takeout that time." Liam took a spoonful of noodles, his tone casual, as if remembering her preferences was the most natural thing in the world. Warmth filled Emma's chest. She bowed her head to eat the tofu pudding, a smile tugging at her lips. She'd noticed that since they'd started dating, Liam had become incredibly attentive, always remembering little things she'd mentioned in passing. After breakfast, Liam drove her to an art studio. "I know you love painting, so I rented this for you. You can come anytime you want to draw." He opened the door, and Emma gasped. Inside were brand new easels and paint, and on the wall hung printed copies of the original drafts from her Little Rabbit Strawberry Garden picture book. Emma stared in shock, her eyes watering. "How did you get my original drafts?" "I saw them in your desk drawer when I went to the design department to sort files. I had a printer make copies." Liam hugged her gently from behind, resting his chin on top of her head. "Do you like it?" "I love it, thank you, Liam." Emma turned around to hug him, her voice choked up. They spent the morning in the studio. Emma sat at the easel painting, while Liam sat on the sofa reading documents, occasionally looking up at her with soft eyes. The sun streamed through the windows, making the moment slow and sweet. In the afternoon, Liam took Emma to a supermarket. He pushed the cart, and she followed beside him, tossing her favorite snacks into it. When they passed the bakery section, Emma couldn't help but stare at a strawberry cake. Liam noticed, smiling, "Want some? I'll make one for you at home." Emma looked at him in surprise. "You know how to bake?" "Not yet, but I can learn." Liam picked up a box of strawberries and put it in the cart. "I promise it'll be better than the ones here." That night, Liam kept his word. He spent the evening in Emma's small kitchen, trying to bake. Emma leaned against the doorframe, watching him fumble with the eggs, flour dusting his hands, and couldn't help but laugh. "Need a hand?" Liam turned to look at her, a little embarrassed. "No, I've got it. Just sit and wait, I'll be done soon." His first attempt was a disaster. The cake was burnt black, like a lump of charcoal. Liam frowned and secretly threw it away, then started over, following a tutorial step by step. Finally, he pulled a decent-looking strawberry cake out of the oven. When Liam placed the cake, decorated with fresh strawberries, in front of Emma, his eyes were full of anticipation. "Try it. Is it good?" Emma took a bite, the sweet taste of strawberries and cream spreading in her mouth. It wasn't as perfect as the ones from bakeries, but it was filled with his care. She smiled. "It's delicious, my favorite cake ever." Liam's face lit up, a big smile spreading across his face. He realized that doing small things for Emma, even something as simple as baking a cake, made him happier than closing a billion-dollar deal. In the days that followed, they settled into a sweet routine. Every morning, Liam waited for Emma at her community gate to drive her to work. At noon, they ate together in the company cafeteria, and Liam always picked the carrots out of her bowl. In the evenings, they either went to the art studio or stayed home to cook and watch movies. At work, they tried to keep their relationship low-key, but occasional eye contact still made Emma's heart race. Once, when Emma was making coffee in the break room, Liam walked in. When no one was looking, he gently squeezed her hand and whispered, "I'll take you to that new Italian restaurant tonight." Emma's cheeks turned red, and she watched him leave, her heart full of sweetness. Liam's contradictory cuteness became more and more obvious. He was ticklish. Once, Emma accidentally brushed his waist, and he jumped back, his ears turning pink. He wasn't good at comforting people. Once, Emma was upset about a work mistake, and he didn't know what to say, so he silently bought her a big bouquet of strawberry-shaped flowers and awkwardly said, "Don't be sad. Sweet things make everything better." Their sweet days didn't last long, though. On Wednesday morning, Emma woke up with a dizzy head and a low fever. She tried to go to work, but almost fainted when she reached the door. Just then, Liam called. "Woke up yet? I'm at your..." "Liam, I don't feel well. My head hurts so much." Emma's voice was weak. Liam's tone instantly turned worried. "Stay home. I'll be right up." 10 minutes later, Liam was knocking on her door. When he saw her pale face, leaning weakly against the doorframe, his brows furrowed. He helped her to the sofa, then touched her forehead. "You're burning up. We need to go to the hospital." "I don't need to go to the hospital, it's just a cold. I'll take some medicine and be fine." Emma pulled his hand, not wanting him to worry. Liam didn't budge, putting his coat around her. "No arguments. We have to get you checked. What if it's worse than a cold?" He helped her carefully downstairs and drove her to the hospital. The doctor said it was a viral cold, prescribed medicine, and told her to rest. Back home, Liam helped Emma lie down and covered her with a blanket, then went to the kitchen to make porridge. He sat beside her bed, feeding her spoonful by spoonful, his movements gentle as if she were a treasure. "Aren't you going to the office today?" Emma looked at him, guilty for disrupting his work. "Work isn't as important as you." Liam put the bowl down and tucked the blanket around her. "Sleep well. I'll be in the living room, call me if you need anything." Emma nodded, closing her eyes and falling asleep quickly. Liam sat on the living room sofa, holding her medical records, filled with self-blame. He should have noticed she wasn't feeling well sooner. In the afternoon, Emma woke up to find Liam sitting beside her bed, reading an illustration book aloud in a soft voice. The sun streamed through the window onto him, making the scene feel like a warm painting. "Aren't you bored staying here?" Emma whispered. Liam looked up, smiling. "Awake? How do you feel? Still hurting?" "Much better. Thank you." Emma reached out to hold his hand. "It's nice having you here, Liam." Liam squeezed her hand, pressing a gentle kiss to her knuckles. "Silly girl. I'm your boyfriend, it's my job to take care of you." They leaned against each other, watching the sunset outside the window, their hearts full of happiness. On a cool autumn weekend, Emma walked out of the art studio to find Liam leaning against his car, holding a bouquet of strawberry-shaped flowers. "I have a surprise for you." He smiled, opening the car door for her. The car drove to a suburban art center, where a huge poster read, "Children's Illustration Exhibition," and in the center was Emma's drawing of the little rabbit holding a strawberry. "Do you like it?" "I worked with the art center to set this up," Liam said, his eyes on Emma. Emma's hand flew to her mouth, tears welling up instantly. She'd never imagined her little illustrations, those she'd drawn late at night, filled with soft lines and warm colors, would be displayed in such a beautiful space. "You did this, for me?" she asked, her voice trembling. Liam nodded, taking her hand and leading her inside. The exhibition hall was bright and warm, with families and children lingering in front of each piece. When they reached the center of the hall, Emma stopped short. The area was decorated like a starry night, with tiny fairy lights strung from the ceiling, and in the middle, a glass display case held a silver ring topped with a small, glowing gem, shaped like a strawberry, just like the ones in her drawings. Before Emma could react, Liam knelt down on one knee, his eyes never leaving hers. He took the ring out of the case, his voice steady but warm. "Emma, the first time I met you, you were standing in the corridor, apologizing with red eyes but refusing to cry. That moment, something in me shifted. Then I watched you fight for your designs, stay up late to make things perfect, and care about every little detail of the children's project, and I knew I didn't just like you, I loved you." He paused, squeezing her hand gently, as if grounding himself in the moment. "I want to wake up next to you every morning, make you strawberry cake when you're tired, watch you paint until the sun goes down. I want to be the one who holds you when you're sad, celebrates with you when you're happy, and builds a life with you, one that's as sweet and warm as your illustrations. Emma, will you marry me?" Tears rolled down Emma's cheeks, but she was smiling, bright, happy, unreserved. She nodded so hard her hair bounced, her voice thick with emotion. "Yes. Liam, yes." Liam slipped the ring onto her finger, it fit perfectly. He stood up, pulling her into a tight hug, and the hall erupted in applause. Children cheered, parents smiled, and even the exhibition staff wiped at their eyes. Emma buried her face in his chest, listening to his fast, happy heartbeat, and knew this was exactly where she was meant to be. 3 months later, on a sunny afternoon, Emma stood at the end of a grassy aisle, her father's arm linked with hers. She wore a white wedding dress with delicate lace, and in her hands, a bouquet of white roses mixed with tiny strawberry-shaped decorations, Liam's idea, of course. At the altar, Liam waited for her, wearing a crisp black suit, his eyes shining as he looked at her. When they reached him, Emma's father squeezed her hand before placing it in Liam's. "Take care of her," he said, his voice soft but firm. "I will," Liam promised, his thumb brushing over Emma's knuckles, now adorned with both her engagement ring and a simple wedding band. The ceremony was small but perfect. When the pastor asked them to exchange vows, Liam spoke first, his eyes never leaving Emma's. "Emma, I promise to love you when you're messy, when you have paint on your hands and your hair's a mess from working late. I promise to listen to you talk about your illustrations for hours, even when I don't understand every detail. I promise to make you strawberry cake every birthday, to hold you when you're stressed about work, and to never let you forget how amazing you are. I promise you a lifetime of sweetness, only for you." Emma's turn came, and she smiled through happy tears. "Liam, I promise to love you when you're grumpy in the morning, when you burn the toast, and when you stay up late reading work files. I promise to leave you little drawings on your desk when you're busy, to make you black coffee just the way you like it, and to always be your biggest fan, whether you're closing a big deal or just trying to fix a leaky faucet. I promise to be with you, through everything, for the rest of our lives." After they kissed, soft, slow, full of love, the guests cheered, and confetti fell like rainbow snow. Later, as they danced under the sunset, Emma rested her head on Liam's shoulder, her arms around his neck. Do you remember the first day I met you? She whispered. I spilled coffee on your suit and thought I'd get fired. Liam laughed, spinning her gently. I remember. I thought, this girl's a mess, but she's a brave mess. And then I saw your drawings, and I knew I had to get to know you. He pressed a kiss to her forehead, his voice soft, best accident of my life. They danced until the stars came out, surrounded by their favorite people, Zoe, who'd become Emma's maid of honor, Assistant Carter, who'd helped Liam plan the proposal, even Emma's parents, who'd quickly grown to love Liam, especially after he taught her dad how to make that famous strawberry cake. As the night ended, Liam led Emma to their car, a black sedan, just like the one he'd picked her up in on that first rainy night, but now decorated with "Just Married" signs and pink ribbons. Where to now? Emma asked, grinning. Our new home, Liam said, winking. I fixed up the spare room into a studio for you, big windows, lots of natural light, and a shelf for all your paints. Oh, and there's a little kitchen nook where I can make you snacks while you work. Emma's heart felt full, so full it might burst. She leaned over, pressing a kiss to his cheek. I love you. I love you more, Liam said, starting the car. And I'm just getting started. As they drove away, the stars shone bright above them, and Emma thought about how far they'd come, from a messy first meeting in a corridor to a lifetime of love ahead. She looked at Liam, at the way he smiled when he talked about her studio, at the ring on her finger, and knew one thing for sure, with Liam, every day would be sweet, every moment would be special, and she'd never have to worry about being anything less than herself. This was their happy ending, and it was only the beginning.